to order at 6:32. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your interests, and if you're not officially a part of the committee, thank you for being here to walk through these conversations with us. We'll spend this first meeting just kind of going over some introductory things and just kind of setting the tone for how these meetings are going to go. For this meeting, I will go ahead and run the meeting. One of the first things we're going to talk about is, moving into a spot where, we elect a chair and a vice chair and a secretary for the committee, so that you guys will actually be running the meeting, and Shannon and I will just be participating with you. So we'll go ahead and hop right into it. Why don't we go ahead and start off with some introductions? And I'm just going to go in the order of the way people are on my screen. So let's start with Patricia Sweeney.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia. I'm one of the business owner committee participant or committee person. I currently live in Brattleboro. While my kids finish high school, I have a junior and a senior. And then I plan on moving back over into the valley again, I kind of like Eastover. I'm really excited to there's so many, I have so many maps and, it's just like, ooh. So anyway, I guess I'm stumped. So
very good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Jonathan, you are up.
Hi, I'm John Pry. I'm a Westover resident. I'm just an interested party. I'm an active liver here, and biking and skiing and a lot of disc golf outside of the area because there's nothing here. But otherwise, things are, I just want to see what's going on.
Thank you. Community member joining us tonight, Andy McLean.
Hey, folks. My name is Andy McLean. I'm the town clerk in Dover, amongst other things. Very interested in trails. Super happy to see you all here. And I'd just like to express my gratitude for those of you on the committee who stepped up and made the commitment. It's exciting. You're going to be doing some exciting things that really matter. And I'd like to also thank Eric and Shannon for putting this thing together. It was professionally done, and they managed to get a bunch of good people and get some interest in this, and it's really nice to see. So thanks, folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Lagrange. I'm a relatively recent full-time resident of Westover. Also very interested in trails and outdoor activities, and I'm an interested party here tonight. So I'm very excited to help work on all this stuff.
Awesome, thank you. Sarah Shippey.
Hi, I'm Sarah Shippey. I'm the representative from the Dover Select Board for the committee. But prior to this organization, I was working with the Trails Committee in its previous incarnation. So looking forward to seeing us make some progress and get consistent programs and projects out there to the community.
Perfect. Mr. Purcell.
Hey there, Mike Purcell here. As a member of this board, I'm one of the business owners there. So Berkeley and Beller, Greenwood Country Realtors. So I have an interest in recreation, historic interest in recreation as one of the mountain bike guys around here, but also as as it would develop a desire and quality of life that Dover can present. So while it's not just about mountain biking or backcountry skiing, I think it's about getting to historical sites and helping the historical society and everybody else. So I gotta see a much bigger picture that benefits the people that live here as well as the businesses. So that's my deal.
Thanks, Mike. Allison.
Hi there. So I'm Alison Ferris, co-owner of the Kitsoff Inn in Westover. Very keen hiker and dog walking, so I thought I'd enjoy being on this committee.
Great.
Hope you'll enjoy having me.
Good, thank you. Paul, you're up.
Folks, Paul Fisher, I'm a Westover resident, and I'm also the membership chair for the local snowmobile club, the Deerfield Valley Stump Jumpers. So officially, I'm here as the voice of snowmobiling on the committee. I've been involved in the Trails and Rec planning and the RFP that Weston and Sampson submitted a proposal for. So nice to meet everybody. All the faces.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Steve. You're muted, Steve. You're muted.
Aha, there we go. I'm Steve Petrick. I'm the Vice President of the Southern Vermont Trails Association. We've been working on opening up the backcountry ski areas and new permitting for trails in the town of Dover.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Tommy, you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, my name's Tom Oakley. I am a 5-year resident of East Dover, along with my 4 children who have gone through the Dover School, and my wife, Louisa, who's an early interventionist over at Winston Prouty. I've been enjoying the town and the trails and trying to give back to the community. And I was fortunate enough to be approached by Steve Petrick to join the Southern Vermont Trails Association. And I saw some correspondence and thought I would jump on this call to just kind of learn more about how the different organizations interact and complement each other.
Perfect. Mike, you and your deer are up.
Hi, guys. Mike Garber, Deerfield Valley Stump Jumpers, Vice President of the local snowmobile club. Paul is our representative here on this committee, but I am here just to make sure that we are represented well.
Perfect. Diane.
Hi, my name is Diane McCormick. I am a full-time resident of Dover over in Green Spring. I also happen to be a board officer over there, and I'm always being asked by homeowners here, what is there to do in the Dover area? And I'm like, you have no idea how much there is to do. So I'm very interested to hear everything that's going on. I'm very, very avid outdoorsman myself. Snowmobile, hiking, skiing, cross-country skiing. If it can be done outdoors, I want to do it. So yes, I love the Stump Jumpers. Went out last week and you guys did an amazing job on the trails. Thank you so much. So I'm just excited to hear what you have to do.
All right. So thank you all for being here and for introducing yourselves. I'm really excited to have this group together. I know it's a long time coming, and even the Trails group before us, I think, had some trouble getting together just because of the whole COVID thing. So it's nice to restart this conversation, and we'll get everybody up to speed as fast as possible and get working on stuff. So the first thing that we have to discuss as a committee is how we want to approach our officers for the committee. Okay, so one option is your typical elect a chair, elect a vice chair, and a secretary. An idea was brought to my attention the other day. I want to put it in front of the group and just see what everybody's thoughts are on it. But the idea of using a revolving chair so that one of you is chairing the meeting, a different person is chairing the meeting each time we have it. So I just open up to the group to see kind of how you want to go ahead and approach that. Any thoughts?
I mean, the rotating thing might make sense depending upon, who can be there and when. Because I mean, everybody gets busy from time to time.
Yeah.
And I don't see a problem with that.
And I think it just allows the conversation not to be solely led in one direction each meeting. I think it would be beneficial on a lot of levels. Any other thoughts on using that type of method for the committee? No?
I have a question.
Sounds good to me.
Is the meeting every second Tuesday at 6? Is it a set time? Like, isn't this the second Tuesday?
Yep, that's what we were shooting for. As long as this works for you guys, I think we would probably go ahead and you know, kind of keep it on this day and time so that you guys always know, like, oh, it's the second Tuesday, I have a Trails and Rec meeting tonight.
The time's fine. The one issue I have is I have my monthly Vielmont Trails board meeting at 5:30.
Okay.
So there may be just a little bit of overlap depending upon how busy we are.
Okay.
But for the most part, everybody knows I need to flip flop back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that we're doing with this committee is all of these meetings will be recorded. I'll be posting all of those videos on discoverdover.com, which if you haven't seen it is the new economic development website. And then I'm gonna have Jeanette post them on the Dovertown website as well. And we can also be sending the link out to the group, just in case you've missed the meeting, you can go ahead and catch up on anything you might have missed. So I don't see that, you know, as long as you're okay with piggybacking on those Tuesdays, Steve, you know, we'll keep doing
Is what it is.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I will get with Shannon then. And I think what we'll do to kind of facilitate this is we'll reach out ahead of time, see who's going to be able to make the next meeting, and then, you know, kind of come up with a schedule to say, okay, you're chairing this meeting coming up. That way everybody knows when they're responsible, you know, obviously agendas and things like that. Shannon and I put this one together. Anything you'd like to see on this agenda as a committee member, go ahead and get in touch with either Shannon or myself, you know, well in advance of the meeting, and we'll go ahead and get that stuff on the agenda. And then, you know, I think in future meetings, much like a select board meeting, we'll have, you know, a section for public comments, so that if someone who's not on the committee has something they'd like to talk about Trails and Rec wise, they could bring that up at that point. And then anybody, you know, coming to us from an organization would reach out to us, and we would put them on the agenda as an item to be discussing as the committee. So that's kind of how that's going to flow going forward. The youth member status. Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 2 interested parties for the youth member spot?
We've had a few now who've expressed interest. One that has sent like a formal email. What we would like everyone to decide is we don't really expect that youth member to complete the same like survey questions that you all did. So just trying to decide how you would like to add that person to your committee, but we do have at least 3 that have expressed interest and 1 who has sent a formal email to our office.
Shannon, what's the age range? Just out of curiosity.
So it's 12 to 18. So old enough to, you know, have really great opinions and be able to express them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have some interest, and we figured it might be a little bit easier for them to join after we've had a couple of meetings and they can see sort of what this situation is like.
Sarah?
I think I'd be comfortable if Eric and or Shannon wanted to have a conversation with each of the 3 and then make a recommendation to the committee, instead of having them do the, you know, maybe they could write a short narrative, but not necessarily answer all the questions. As long as we know, you know, that they're Dover residents, beyond that, I don't think we need to put them through the same paces.
I totally agree, Sarah. And what I'm thinking is, if there is an interest from a number of them, maybe invite all 3 of them to the next meeting to sit in, see what it is that's happening with the group. And then, you know, if they may or may not want to continue after that point, so we, you know, we can kind of deal with it that way as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll invite them to attend the next meeting. If you guys have anybody else in mind who may be interested, by all means, invite them to that next meeting, and they can take part too. Just because, and it's the same with community members and business owners and things, just because you don't specifically sit on this committee does not mean that you can't attend and be, you know, and participate in the meetings. I mean, we definitely want as much participation as possible. The committee itself was more formed to be making those formal suggestions through the Economic Development Department to the Select Board. So just because someone doesn't sit on the committee doesn't mean they're not welcome. These are open meetings to the public. And we'd love to have as many participants as possible. So be sure to spread the word when we're going to have the meetings, okay? So moving on, we're going to touch base real quick. So For anyone who's not familiar, this past fall, I think we finally received the final version of the Weston and Sampson Trails and Recreation Strategic Plan. So this basically lays out what, we hired an outside firm to kind of take a look strategically at what we need to be adding on a, trails and recreation standpoint over the next however many years, to kind of grow our recreation here in Dover. Is everybody familiar with that plan? Because a lot of what we're going to be talking about comes from that plan.
Yes.
Shannon, am I able to share my screen? What?
Sorry, you should be now.
Okay, perfect. There it is. Okay, so just to show you guys, if you have not seen this, no, I can't move. Okay, Discover Dover. Under our businesses. Oh, sorry. Under Why Dover Reports and Plans.
Yeah.
You can actually access a copy of the Dover Recreation Plan right here, provided by Weston and Sampson. It is a thick read, so if you haven't been through it, or if it's been a while since you've been through it, definitely hop back in there. Take a good read through, because again, a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are coming out of this plan. So again, that's Discover Dover. You'll find that reports link there right on the front page.
And the link to it will be in the minutes that go out after this meeting.
Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. So yeah, like I said, I just wanted to, that's just a quick item. We're just going to make sure that everybody's up to date on that. The next item on the agenda is an update on the Ridge project. And I think Steve and Andy were going to kind of take a tag team approach on this. So guys, you have the floor.
Well, I mean, we had the emails back and forth, Eric, where Dana wanted you to bring you in.
Yeah.
We had a meeting that was about implementation and also the Vielamont project. And if people aren't aware, the Vielamont project is a trail and hut system that is going from northern Vermont to all the way down to Massachusetts. They've already started building part of the northern part. So we had a conversation with Dana, and she was just kind of laying out what they need to see happen over the next season for the project to progress. And she laid out a couple of things as, getting the trail alignments done. And after that, they can have their specialists come in, which is their botany specialist, their soil specialist, and their water specialist. She did say there was a backlog for their bridge specialists, but we may be able to hire somebody they've worked with in the past if we wanted to expedite that process, which is something she will bring up in the next meeting that we have with her. I think it was March 8th, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I just put it in my calendar this morning. So we'll be having the meeting with the state. If one of you guys doesn't mind, just because everybody's not so familiar with the project at this point, maybe just kind of take it back a little bit, explain where the Ridge project is happening, and
Andy can
I'd love
explain
to do
that. I
that.
mean, he's the one that
Okay.
started it.
yeah, that's great.
Well, there's two different items here. I mean, the Ridge project and the Velomont are two distinct operations or plans, aren't they? I mean,
No, well, the Vielamont is going to tie into the Ridge project area.
well, right, but the Velomont, trail isn't going to go across the ridge
It's something that we've been discussing, yes.
because the Forest Service was, anti-bikes on the ridge in general. But I mean, they're
Me,
different.
Andy, and Tim had a meeting with David before he left. And David said that they were going to look into allowing access up there. And then when the final report came out, it didn't have it in there. We brought it up with Dana in our last meeting, and she specifically saw it in the notes. And she was going to look into why there was no language about it in the final approval.
Right, because your original plan with the Velomont was to just come over Mount Snow.
Right, to come over the shoulder and in. And
Right.
David was the one that had suggested it, said, we could put it in as an allowed usage, we don't know if we're actually going to build it, or do anything anytime soon. But just
Can
to
I
have
just,
it there.
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yeah, yeah.
Might be leaving some of the folks here behind.
Yeah.
And so I was
Yeah,
thinking
sorry.
maybe it's quite all right. I know both of you guys.
Yeah, you give the history.
So basically, I have a couple of screens I'd like to share with you, and they might be helpful if you're not really familiar with the Ridge project. So I'm going to try that. I've never done it before.
You should be good. We'll figure
Should
it
be good. All right. So can you see that? Yes, no?
Not yet.
So
You have to tell it which thing you want to look at from
oh
your.
gosh. How's that? Share.
There we go.
You
All
got
right,
this,
you see
Andy.
that?
Yay.
All right. So, basically, you can see a picture that let's see, some of the people's windows are blocking out one end of the picture, but what they're blocking out are Mount Snow ski trails. So you can see from this picture the Deerfield Ridge, which goes from the Hermitage to Mount Snow. And basically, Haystack and Mount Snow are two little bumps on the end of this ridge. And there's a trail that runs right along the top of the ridge, and that exists. People are skiing it today. So our project, if you can see my cursor on the screen.
Yep.
Okay. Basically Handle Road runs right here. Okay. You're looking west. Okay. To the right is north, Mount Snow. To the left is south, and the Hermitage. And this is Handle Road. This development is Bears Crossing. This here is Suntech. Okay. Now the idea is that we would put a parking area on Handle Road, head up over this little bump, which leads you down into the Coldbrook Valley, which sort of slants up the ridge towards Mount Snow, towards the Sunbrook area. Come up out of there, cross the brook, and up to the Ridge Trail. And then you can backcountry ski down. Part of it will be a mountain bike trail that starts at Handle Road, heads up to the bottom of the Bear Trap Lift in the Sunbrook, Sun Bowl area on Mount Snow. Mm-hmm. The project has been, in the hands of the National Forest Service for a long time, and we finally got approval. Now we're in the implementation phase, which is what Steve was talking about. It's very exciting project. But what this picture can do for you, besides show you what a great artist I am, is it can illustrate that 25% of the town of Dover is national forest. This whole ridge, the top of this ridge is all national forest. National forest stretches over this ridge, all the way over to this ridge, and then into Bennington, up to Stratton, down to Stamford. There's a ginormous chunk of national forest over here. There's a couple other chunks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of national forest. Now, the next screen I'm going to share with you, if I can, looks like stop share. That should work. All right. Share screen looks like this. Okay. So this is a map of the southwestern corner of Dover. And I wish those windows weren't in the way.
You can move them on your screen, man.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, if you click the black bar.
The black bar. Sweet. Oh, that's not working.
You can
there it is.
make it go
Okay.
away for the most part.
Beautiful. All right. So if you make all the little faces go away, you can see the whole map, which is important. This is an aerial photograph of the southwestern corner of Dover. And it shows over here on this side, Route 100, the town offices are located right here where the little cursor is. This thick red line is the Valley Trail along Route 100, the paved trail. Okay, these orange lines are parcel lines. So these are parcels of land from our tax map. This parcel right here off of Route 100 is Horace Hill that the town recently bought. You can go out skiing there. A lot of people are right now, snowshoeing. It's a lot of fun. This is the golf course off of Country Club Road. This is the driving range. Okay, when you make that right-hand corner on Country Club and Crosstown Road, park there and you head into the Crosstown Trails. That's right here. This is Crosstown Trail. It looks like a road, like all the other roads, like Handle Road and Route 100, because it's a town right of way. But there are no vehicles on this portion. This is the Crosstown Trail. The Mount Snow Crosstown mountain bike trails are in this area, what is referred to sometimes as the Hosea Man piece. And up here north of the actual Crosstown Trail as well, this land is owned by Mount Snow. These are the ski trails on Mount Snow. This is the ridge. This is the ridge trail, this green line here. So when you were looking at the picture previously, you were looking west. On this map, north is up, west is to the left. This is the top of the ridge. This is Mount Snow. The Hermitage is down this way. Basically, all you need to know about the history of this project has to do with this parcel of land right here. This parcel of land used to be in private hands. It was owned by the Sargent family. And when that was the case, the National Forest Service, this represented by this red line, is the border of the National Forest Service currently, okay? Before the Forest Service bought this 500-acre chunk of property, this line went up here and over here. So you had all this National Forest Service from that other picture you saw on the top of that ridge and no way to get there except through a ski area. As soon as the National Forest Service bought this tract in 2008, it opened up the possibility for this project. These green lines are proposed trails. They currently exist. They'll need to be upgraded. But the little tiny arm of this 500 acres comes down and actually hits Handle Road, allowing us the possibility of a trailhead here, a mountain bike trail up through this piece to join with the bottom of the Bear Trap Lift, which is right here, the most southern skiable trail on Mount Snow. There would also be an opportunity for us to cross a bridge over the Cold Brook right here, head up the ridge on a skin track, and then ski down with some backcountry skiing zones in this area. This trail is the old trail to the Hermitage Club. I didn't extend it past the National Forest Service boundary since this is private property and it doesn't, the project doesn't extend into the private property. But if you were to keep going on this old road, you would wind up down at the Hermitage. Basically, it's a super exciting opportunity because of everything that we will be able to do in this project. The fact that that you have the opportunity for backcountry skiing and all of that beautiful national forest off of the ridge is amazing. The fact that you can mountain bike off of Mount Snow, you know, down to Handle Road is wonderful. But the reason for this map is to show you
The connection.
Something else as well, and that's connectivity. Currently, if you're familiar with Kingdom Trails or with a large network of trails like Kingdom Trails, basically the idea is you come to the town, you stay at a lodge, you get on your mountain bike, and you don't ever have to get back in your car until you want to get home. And with this trail, with this project, this mountain bike trail, you can get from the trails on Mount Snow, the downhill trails, you can get to Handle Road, go on Handle Road, a very short period of time. The idea is not to be on the road very long. That's not what these kinds of trail systems are, known for. It's known for being in the woods on a trail. Jump into the crosstown trails all the way over to Crosstown Road, be on the road for another 100 yards, jump in over here behind Mount Snow's driving range on their property, hit Horace Hill, down through the woods in Horace Hill to the paved trail on Route 100. That allows for a project that for the possibility of drawing the kinds of people and the kinds of tourists that you see at Kingdom Trails, and it's just super exciting. It's just a wonderful opportunity, and I'm glad that Eric asked me to share this with you, and I hope you're as excited as I am. And I'll shut up. I can.
No, that was a great
hours if you
synopsis,
want.
Andy.
If I may.
The one caveat I would add is it's not just mountain biking, it's hiking, snowshoeing, it's all the uses. I just don't want people to think it's one thing.
No, and additionally.
No, definitely not.
Additionally, what Andy, went by was as you go through that crosstown zone, it connects you to the Valley Trail. And the Valley Trail leads you south from there into Wilmington and continues on to be part of this Velomont thing or whatever. So it's even bigger than what we're showing in Dover. It shows a greater degree of connectivity than it would suggest.
Eric, you're muted.
All right. Did anybody on the committee have any questions about what Andy covered on that project? Perfect. So Steve had touched on it a little bit, him, myself, and the members of the Forest Service will be meeting Andy as well on March 8th to kind of go over the next steps and everything there. So we will absolutely make sure to keep everybody on the loop on where we are with that project, okay? Moving on, let's see. Why don't we go ahead and get some updates from our committee members coming from organizations? I don't think we have Tim, it wasn't Tim, sorry.
No, Brian's not here, so you can.
So Brian is our committee member who represents Mount Snow. He was unable to join us tonight, so we will go ahead and get some updates from him at the next meeting. So moving right along, Town of Dover. Shannon, that's
Isn't that you?
That's
Yes.
us. So,
Technically, Sarah, that's you.
No.
All right, I'll take one for the team here, Sarah. So the latest thing to have happened is that the town and the Economic Development Department did finally close on Horace Hill when we purchased that property. So anyone unfamiliar with Horace Hill, it's situated directly behind Rich Kaplan's building right there on Route 100. I think it's 155 Route 100 or somewhere along there. But the green, what used to be the green building just south of Dover Forge OMT. So that parking lot there sits right in front of the land that we own on the other side of the Valley Trail is Horace Hill. The majority of that land closed prior to me joining the Economic Development Department. The last chunk of it was held up, I think, with some deed issues. So that last chunk of that property closed just last week. So now we are fully in possession of all of the property on Horace Hill. So that's, oh, and Mike, you muted yourself. Nobody can hear you.
There we go. Yeah, it was the piece that is at the end of the roadway that goes below Tara that takes you through the apple orchard over to Crosstown.
Yep. So that's all closed up now, which is absolutely great news. So one of the biggest things that this, well, not biggest, but one of the big things that this committee will look at is, okay, we have this land that is referred to as Horace Hill now. What is it that we're going to do with it? Okay, I know everybody's got a lot of ideas, everybody has plans, but one of the goals of this committee is to dig through that Weston and Sampson plan and say, okay, here's what people said they wanted. How can we integrate that into land or areas that we own? Okay. So obviously, you know, there's a bunch of chunks of that Weston and Sampson plan that could be applicable with this piece of land that we purchased on Horace Hill. So that's definitely a conversation we're going to have moving forward. Another thing, just update on our end, you know, our department is researching other areas in town that we could potentially look at for some of these other things in the Trails and Rec plan. I mean, you look at it, if you're familiar with the land on Horace Hill, it's going to be kind of hard to put a skate park, you know, up on Horace Hill. So, you know, definitely looking at what our options are there. So we'll keep you all in the loop on any progress there as well. Okay. An update from our friends at the Stump Jumpers. Paul. Paul. Garber. Paul.
Well, since Paul seems to have stepped away.
No,
I'll
so I'm here. Hang on a
Okay.
second. I'm here. I'm on the phone that dialed in. I'm having trouble with some hotel Wi-Fi, but I can't unmute the phone call.
Gotcha.
That's
Do
what one
you want Garber to give us a quick update?
No, I'm good. I didn't want to do it over the phone because the hotel Wi-Fi is not working well enough.
Okay. So it's
The 201
Chance.
number.
*6 to unmute on a phone,
Oh, okay.
I think. There you go.
Thank you. Sorry, I muted the phone. I thought that was going to unmute me when I started talking. So sorry, everybody. So I was just saying, I'm in a hotel room with some spotty Wi-Fi, so I just put over to a phone call. So can you hear me okay, Eric?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. So again, yeah, so I'm the Stump Jumper membership chair. The first thing that comes to mind that I can bring to this club is just talking about any shared use trails. So where we have, you know, motorized sled traffic, commingling with foot traffic and things like that, just make sure that that's all addressed properly and that snowmobiles are behaving and we're doing what we can do to support that. And anything else that people, you know, anything that people in this group want to have spoken to from a snowmobile perspective from the Stump Jumpers. And then one other thing that comes to mind now, I'm also on the fire department search and rescue team with Andy, and we're just starting to look at putting up some signage on the snowmobile trails so that people, if they're in distress and they call 911, they can identify their location. So I think that's something that we can talk about here. Within the search and rescue team, we've talked about making sure that the signage has some consistent look and feel. So it's not just a sled E911 signage, but it's for any Dover trails. So people are used to what it looks like. And if they're asked to find the sign to tell people, you know, tell 911 where they are, it'll be the same type of signage throughout the trail system. So that's probably something we can work on together in this group.
And Paul, anything that we have that has to go up on the E911 system, Angus is the manager of the database for the state of Vermont. So I've been giving him updated information on the stuff on the trails and trailheads. So if there's additional information that needs to be given to them, I can pass that along.
We should schedule something to speak with him. You know, Neil runs the search and rescue for the state, and he's been in touch.
Yeah, he's also been
somebody
emailing back
that's on his team. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
So before we leave, we have money earmarked already to redo Hathaway Trail this springtime or sometime throughout the summer or fall. That's not what I'm here to discuss. What I am here to discuss is if we want, when we first originally put our trail through Horace Hill, we did it with rakes, shovels, and you know, a few chainsaws to actually clear the trail. But we never brought a machine into Horace Hill. So how would we go about through this committee? I know Steve might need a machine with his trails or to better our trails in Horace Hill while we have this opportunity to do it.
The trails on Horace Hill?
The trails on Horace Hill. So again, you know, we could go straight to the town and ask them for their permission, or are we supposed to go through this committee and ask the committee how for the
Why
permission.
don't we start with the committee, just because, as a group, we're the ones who are going to be making the recommendation to the select board about what that property is going to be ultimately used for. My main concern is just, kind of going buck wild in there before we have a finalized plan about what it is that property is actually going to be used for in the long run. So that would be my concern. So I think, we start that conversation here with the committee, and then, Shannon and myself take it to the select board from there with the recommendation of the committee.
Okay, so our next meeting is 2 weeks from tonight?
The next Trails and Rec meeting
The next Trails and Rec, yes.
would be 1 month from now. It's the
1
second, it's the second Tuesday of the month.
So we're in February, that puts us into March. March
March
you're telling-
9th.
March 9th.
Right,
So
you're not running a machine out there right now anyway.
No, but now you're telling me, listen, I'm going to put it on the agenda for the next meeting with Shannon, which puts us on the March meeting agenda. And then that, possibly only gives us 2 months to really decide if we can do any kind of work in there.
Right, but you're going to have all of summer, or it's all going to be weather dependent. What you're looking for is a consensus of the group that what you plan is appropriate.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just sort of a normal, like at Hogback. If I want to be Captain Mountain Bike guy and I can lay out a really groovy trail, but it doesn't matter. The board has to decide whether or not they think that's appropriate or not. Does that make sense to do this or do that? And you should be able to make your case that it makes perfect sense, and the board should go, oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay. We just wanted to know procedure going forward.
Mike, I think it's important to remember that this is new. So when we formed this committee, we are hoping to make all new things moving forward a little more streamlined and easy to follow. But it doesn't account for things that are sort of happening or in the works, and this would be one of those things. So I think this is probably we go to the next select board meeting like you normally would, just to kind of move that forward. So
like Mike said, we're not in a rush.
Yeah.
Because we do have the summertime, we have to plan things out, especially when it comes to machines. But we need to know if we're following the rules of Horace Hill. Now, we know we have an existing trail there that's worked for the past 2 years. But we want to make sure it doesn't affect, acreage, wetlands.
You're talking about when we get into Act 250, Mike.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, and I understand all of your concerns, Mike, and I don't want you to think that because you have to come through this committee that we're going to try to hold everything up and not allow you to get work done. Like I said, my main concern, especially when it comes to the property on Horace Hill, is that we just go through there and just start doing whatever we want willy-nilly, and then, decide
Just
later
have a
on.
mess.
What's that?
Just have a mess if everybody starts doing whatever they want.
Right. So we have to talk it through. We got to work it through as this committee, and then Shannon and I take that recommendation to the select board. So if we have another meeting on, March 9th, which is that second Tuesday, there's a select board meeting immediately the week after, that next Tuesday. So if we had something we had to bring to the select board, boom, it's a week later than that. So we're not talking like months and months of holding projects up. That's not my intention with this group. My intention is that when we make a decision, it is made as the committee for the good of the whole. So that's all I was saying there. Sarah, you had a comment?
I was just going to say, if the stump jumpers have as much specificity as you can bring to the next Trails Committee meeting that can then be passed along to the select board, it's going to make the decision-making process move more quickly. To try to anticipate any questions that might get asked and have answers to those so that it doesn't become a back and forth of like, well, what about this and what about that?
Patricia, you had a question, comment?
You gotta unmute.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute. Is it, so we were talking about equipment, or are you talking about just like summertime trail work equipment, or like groomers in the winter?
So when we talk about maintaining trails in the summertime, we've gotten to the point now where we do like to bring in equipment and make these trails right, so our groomers and or snowmobiles don't get beat up like they have for years gone by. These trails have not been, first of all, Horace Hill is a brand new trail that's
Yeah.
never been maintained. We just built it. But when it comes to servicing the existing trails that haven't been serviced for the past 20 years, and now we're finally getting to it, it makes a really big difference. And we want to do that with heavy equipment if we can afford to get it done right.
That's what I was wondering, if it was just like summertime work.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Paul and Mike, for updates from Stump Jumpers. So Steve, you're up.
I mean, the only thing we really have to update on is the usage has been off the charts. We've been keeping track up at the town forest, and our average since, the end of Christmas has been about 30 to 35 cars per day on the weekend and 10 cars to 12 cars during the week, which is way more people than we were ever expecting. And quite a few more than we would like to have up there, which is why we've been doing no advertising, no press about it, just releasing the maps to the town. We did speak to a couple of the abutting landowners, and they weren't upset, but they said some people have been going fast down the road. And that was what I put in the email to you. And I said we would more than happily come up with a solution for them.
Okay.
So that's about it. I mean, just generally anything that we've done in the past year is getting used more than we could ever expect it to.
Yeah, and that's, just to touch on that, Steve, I mean, that's across the board. Wyndham Regional put up some counters over on the crosstown trails and things this summer, and they were reporting some weeks with like 300% usage or something over the same
Yeah,
day.
no, that's crazy.
It's just absolutely, people really want to be outside, right now. So totally understand what you're saying there.
In the early days, I sort of poo-pooed all of this. We need space for a parking lot or parking area, like we park by the side of the roads, but COVID has just like slammed the outdoor recreation, and folks are super digging the backcountry thing, and folks I've run into in business have just said, yeah, we're trying to get up to the backcountry stuff, and the place is packed, it's mobbed. So I mean, there may be some parking area stuff that we have to consider, really.
It's for another conversation, about the parking in town, but I definitely agree. Just with the small increase that we're seeing this season, it's hopefully going to be somewhat exponential over the next couple of years. And that was also one of the problems with the Kingdom Trails recently is they just didn't have the infrastructure to support the amount of numbers that they were having. And it's something that we as a group could definitely work on to, I don't know, mitigate a future problem possibly.
But I mean, you can see that coming on the Bears Crossing stuff. I mean, you can all
Oh,
park.
no, I know.
I mean, that's going to be, huge, that, you can just walk up the road perhaps, to get to it. But yeah, that's going to be parking.
It's a silly issue, but
Guys,
yeah, it's something we're going to have to deal with.
I don't mean to cut you short, but for this particular meeting, we're just going to stick to the agenda. So
No worries.
It's a conversation to have for sure. We'll make sure we get it as an agenda item on a future meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have one last thing to cover. Okay. And committee members, this is specifically for you. I'm going to be sending you just a quick background to what I'm going into here. You'll see the item on the agenda as the Trail A- update, review a municipal manager needed. So for those of you unfamiliar with Valley Trail A-, Valley Trail A is the section that runs from the bottom of Door Fitch Road right next to the town office all the way up to Dots and the plaza there and the post office. So that is Valley Trail A. Okay, there are multiple sections of Valley Trail when this whole thing was laid out, A, B, C. Well, A- is now coming into our view to be completed. So A-, if you picture where that trail ends at the bottom of Door Fitch Road, there's then a bridge on Route 100, and immediately following that bridge is what is known as Bogle Road. Okay, Valley Trail A- will continue the trail. There will be a crosswalk from the end of that trail over to a footbridge that will run directly next to the bridge on the road bridge on 100. And the remainder of the Valley Trail A- will continue through that property at One Bogle Road. Okay, so Sarah, as the select board rep to trails, and myself have had a conversation with the owner of One Bogle Road and have an agreement in principle to continue that trail through his property.
Nice.
So right now we are in the process of restarting this project with the state and the Vermont Department of Transportation, who are the ones who are going to be providing us with the grant money to help us get that completed. So here's where you guys come in. Because of the delay in this project, our contact at the state has recommended that we move forward with selecting a municipal project manager. The rules have changed somewhat since we started this, whereas my predecessor, Steve, was able to manage the project from my office. They are now looking for anyone who's using these grant dollars to have someone who is experienced in managing a municipal project just like this one. Okay, so what they've done is they provided us with a list of what they call at the ready municipal project managers. And this is a list of 6 different organizations that have all submitted basically just a blanket RFQ or request for qualifications to say, here's what we've done for projects and here's, we are available to do them. So what I'm going to need this group to do is to take a look through those 6 packets from these organizations and score them against each other. Has anybody ever done this with other projects and things?
Didn't we do that when we selected the people that were going to do the recreation plan?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what we're looking at doing. Okay. So you get an email either from myself or Shannon. I put together a scoring metric, basically on a scale of like 1. There are 4 sections for each one to say like, okay, qualifications, examples of past work, their availability to us. And excuse me for not remembering the 4th one right off the top of my head. But what I need you, there's 6, basically brackets in this thing. I already have them all named out for you. You just need to read through these things and score them 1 to 5 on each one of those. I will compile everyone's score and get that up in front of the select board to say, hey, this is who the committee thinks that we should go with for this municipal project manager for the project. Yep. That being said, I'd like to have these scores in front of them for next Tuesday's meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're going to send that out this soon?
I will send it out probably either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, great.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I just want to show you guys Shannon, I think, hold on.
You're good.
Okay, perfect. So this link that I'm going to send you guys, it's at the Vermont Department of Transportation. You're going to scroll. It looks like this at the top. This is like kind of like basically they've already written all these things out for us. Like in terms of when we select this person, we just kind of fill out this form letter and send it to them, and they send us like an actual proposal for the specific project. So that's what the stuff is at the top. You're going to scroll down here to where it says consultant MPM at the ready process. Okay, now right here, the ATR 2020 MPM consultants, there's a list of 6 of them. Okay, don't go down to 2017. We're looking at the 2020 list. These are the ones that were approved in 2020 and are still approved for right now. So I need you guys to go through these, read those qualifications letters, and just score them using that metric. Does anyone have, so you'll have the link, you'll have your scoring sheet. I don't necessarily need your scoring sheet, even if you replied to either myself or Shannon in an email with the name of the company and the total score that you gave them, that's fine with me. We're going to be going off of totals. I will collaborate everyone's scores and then go ahead and put those in front of the select board. Sarah, did you have a question?
I just want to say, just because the way you said it, I want to be sure I'm clear. You don't just want our score for the highest scoring one that we have. You want our score for each of the 6.
That is correct, because you may score someone lower, whereas the rest of the group has scored them as their highest.
Right.
It's a
So you need 6 scores from each of us.
Yep. I want every score for each company for each of you and we'll put them all together and get those in front of the select board for next Tuesday. Does anybody have any questions on that process?
No, is it just an overall score, or are we scoring them on a bunch of different things like past projects?
Yep. So hold on one second, and I'll read you the I'm just pulling
The
it up.
criteria.
I'm gonna send it out right now to the voting members.
Okay, and Shannon, do you have the link to,
Yes.
Okay, you have the link to where the MPMs are?
Yep, I'll include that in the scoring sheet and I'll send that out in just a minute to them.
Okay.
Thank you,
I
Shannon.
think I put February 15th on there, but I think if we want to get it in front of the board, it may need to be,
Well, the next board meeting is the 16th, so the 15th would be,
I
since
wouldn't
all
be
you're
able to,
doing is aggregating scores, the 15th is fine.
because then I can just present it to you guys once we get there, correct?
Right, it's because you're not doing a presentation, you're saying the committee came up with these aggregate scores and rank this team, this group 1, 2, 3, like that.
So
Perfect.
done by the end of the weekend.
That'd be awesome if you guys can. So let me just go ahead and I have the document pulled up here. I know we're just screenshotting this right now, so.
So
Wow.
Eric, so you just want, each of us is going to give one score for each each manager, not like not our score by subcategory.
Nope.
Just
So
a
I
simple-
want one score. So can you guys see the document here that I pulled up?
Yep.
Okay, so I want one total score from you for Dubois and King. That total score will be made up of how you respond to the qualifications of them. I put it up.
Oh, I see.
Then down here, okay, so qualifications, it's a great sized team. It seems like they have enough people to really help us get this project through to the finish line. And they seem like they, most of them within these documents have provided like their qualifications. So, they're engineers or they're this or they're that, and they have resumes and, or, like their education, things like that. So you're going to judge them based on these criteria through each one. Okay, does everybody now that I've pulled this up, does everybody kind of understand what it is that I mean?
Yeah, so they have a maximum score of 20.
Correct. So what I want, that's why I was saying, you don't even need to send me back your whole sheet. You could literally send me an email with the 6 names written out and your score out of 20 for each one.
Okay.
Sarah?
I just wanted to, do you have the map of what the project's going to look like? I think there's going to be bridge construction included in this. There's going to be some plantings being done. It's a very short section of trail, but it has a lot going on in it. And I think that if we're going to score people on their demonstration of experience, one of the things we really are going to want to know is how have you handled building a bridge,
Right.
kind of thing, or managing a bridge building project. It's not going to be the same as laying a sidewalk.
No, you are correct. And I didn't take that into account, like in my overview above. I think, the bulk of the community or committee members are here. So I think as long as, if everybody can be taking that into consideration, thinking about what this project entails, like Sarah said, we do have the bridge, going over that, the body of water, things like that. And then, plantings and
I think a map might be helpful just to look at it. So you're like, all right, we're crossing the river here. This is where there's plantings
You have
or
that
whatever.
digitally?
I don't know if we do.
I might.
I'm curious about A minus. Yeah, even the map. I mean, it goes over to Toll Gate, and does it make it to Dover Green Road?
No, it just
No.
ends at Toll Gate
Just at Toll Gate. Oh, okay.
for now.
For now, okay.
So Sarah, if you could take a look for that. I just don't think that I have, I'll take a look through my stuff as well, and one of us can send it out to the group. I just don't believe that I have that section.
If I find it, I will send it to you so you can send it to everybody collectively.
That sounds
You
great.
know what I mean? Instead of mishmash.
Okay. So are there any other questions on, getting this piece of it done? Patricia?
Maybe just a write-up of what the whole project is. So I can picture where the place is, or, the spots that you're talking about. So besides the map, just like just a description of the project.
Okay,
Isn't there a summary on the town site for the Valley Trail?
I believe so.
I found the map.
Okay. Sarah, can you send that to Shannon?
I can do that.
I have the Valley Trail map here too, so.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, and I can, you know, I'll shoot a short description to Shannon, but literally it is going to be an extension of that A section of the Valley Trail over the bridge and through Bogle Road. So it's not, we're not
Yeah,
talking.
the map should be self-explanatory, really. I guess you don't have to.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
And just so you know, because I've been working on this actually longer than Eric has, anybody who has questions can certainly contact Eric, but you can also reach out to me if you want.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. So I believe Shannon already is in the process. Did you already send it? So she sent the link out that shows you where the MPMs, the list of MPMs are, and then that document for scoring, okay? If you want to send me the document, go ahead and send me the document. If you want to just send me the names and numbers, go ahead and do that, okay? So as long as we have no other questions, we are at time. Just a reminder, our next meeting will be Tuesday, March 9th, which is that second Tuesday in March. If you can't make it, please let Shannon and I know well ahead of time. Her and I are going to kind of work through the rotating chair piece of this for the upcoming meetings. So if there's a meeting you know you're not going to be at, maybe let us know that in advance. Sarah, you had a question?
Do we need to appoint or request someone to be a secretary?
I would, myself and Shannon would very much appreciate that. Between the rest of our meetings and the minutes we have to take when we're in them, it would be very helpful if someone could be taking minutes during these meetings for us.
So should we get somebody to do it regularly, or do we want to do that rotationally too?
We could probably do that as well, as long as everybody's comfortable with it. Shannon, you had a thought?
I think I think that might be hard to do on a rotation.
Okay.
It's a funny thing to do every once in a while.
Okay.
So the secretary would be the person would record it also.
So we're going to be recording the meetings on the town side of things, like in terms of like the video, right? But because these are publicly warned meetings, we also need to have written minutes that can be provided to the public within, I think it's 5 business days, 3 business days, something along, I'd have to check with the net, but they need to be out to the public within a certain number of business days of the actual meeting. So it is important that we also take, Shannon has kindly taken care of the minutes for us tonight, but like I said, we have a lot of other stuff going on. So if somebody in this committee would like to take on that role, you know, even for the next meeting, and give it a shot. And if you don't like it, we can kind of make a change from there. Does anybody have an interest in doing that for us? All right, nose goes.
I'll take a shot at it, but if you could, I've never done minutes for anything. If Shannon, you could.
I will let you know what you have to do.
Yeah, show me I'm a visual learner. Show me your example.
Perfect.
I will get with you on that next week or later this week.
Thank you, Patricia.
Shannon, I just sent the map to you.
Okay, so Sarah sent the map to Shannon. She'll get that out to you guys as well on the Valley Trail A- piece. So again, we are at time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up just so we don't make a habit of running super crazy long.
And you need a motion.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I need a second. Steve seconds. All right. So thank you all very much for joining us tonight, and we will be in touch very soon. If anybody has any questions, reach out to Sarah, okay?
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.